Hey everyone, today is March 18th, 2022. This is the DevOps for mobile apps update. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we can jump into the demo. So on my screen here, I've got the update issue. So this will be linked in the video description on YouTube, so you can get to all the links from there. The first section here is just talking about the sync update experiment. I'm going to have these here and the times and the links for all of these past and future, and then I'll update the link issue here too after this recording. So the main focus for DevOps for mobile apps this week has been kind of two different things. The one is finishing the secure files MVC. So I have an issue here that I'll walk through in a second. And then the second part is the Fastlane integration. So I'll start off with the MVC. This is the issue here that I'm tracking, kind of all the tasks that are associated with getting this first version of secure files released to GitLab.com. In case, to set some context, I guess, the secure files feature is a feature that we've built into GitLab that allows for the upload of binary files to be used as kind of CI variables. So what this will allow you to do in the case of mobile is to upload your provisioning profiles and signing certificates to GitLab in a secure way, and then be able to pull those into your CI jobs so you can build your test flight releases, your app store releases using those certificates. So basically what we've got here is a bunch of tasks that I'm working through. Most of these are started except for the feature flag rollout for obvious reasons, because we're not quite to that stage yet. But we made a lot of progress this week. The infrastructure is still in progress, so we're getting that there. Hopefully we'll be able to test this on staging pretty soon. But we did go through an AppSec review of the API and had some good feedback. Everything looks good though, but there's a couple follow-up tasks that I picked up from that. Let's see, the other changes that kind of went in this week are a change to clean up secure files when projects are destroyed. So this was just kind of a cleanup task that we needed to do. And then let's see, there's adding some limits. So kind of a limit to the number of files that can be uploaded to a project. We're doing this to prevent any kind of abuse that might happen to the API. So right now projects are just limited to 100 files, and we'll roll that out and then see kind of what the right calibration is for that down the road. And then the last feature here that I wanted to chat about is adding a checksum to the uploaded file that can be used to verify the file that was received is correct. So this was actually some feedback that came out of the AppSec review, which I thought was a really nice addition to the feature. So basically what this will do is when you're uploading a file to secure files, you can provide a SHA-256 checksum of that file along with the payload. And then when we go to process that on our backend, we'll check that to make sure that everything verifies correctly. So that would prevent any sort of interception attacks or anything like that. So, and then if that value isn't provided, then we just don't check it. So it's an optional feature, but a nice additional security check there. So, so that is in an MR review right now, and we'll hopefully get that merged in early next week. So then kind of moving on to the Fastlane integration, I touched on this a little bit last week, and I've got a kind of working demo that I'll show here. But essentially what Fastlane is it's a open source tool chain for mobile developers to make the whole process of building mobile apps kind of easier and more repeatable, and it is a nice tool to integrate with CI systems. And so one of the components of that is a tool called Match. And what Match does is it makes the code signing process easier by making the management of provisioning profiles and secure certificates easier. And there's a lot of complexity around this. And so Match is a great tool to simplify that. Match uses some different backends. And so I kind of talked about this last week too, but you can use Git, you can use Google Cloud, you can use AWS. And then what I'm working on is a GitLab secure files backend for this. And so when you write your match file, I've got an example here. Basically, you set your storage mode in your GitLab project. And then the type is either like development or app store, like whichever type of certificates you're building locally. And then you can run match and it will either generate those certificates or it will pull down the ones that are already stored in your backend. And so this can be used for teams trying to distribute certificates and keep those consistent. But it also is used in CI. So when you're setting up your CI build, you'll run GitLab or Fastlane match to pull down those certificates from GitLab. So this hopefully this will make more sense when I show you how this works. But basically what I've got here is I have a project that I've been building locally, and I've configured Fastlane to talk to my local GitLab instance. And I've got my project here with, there's no secure files right now. And then I've also got the tab open here into my Apple developer portal, which shows that none of the certificates have been generated yet. What I'm going to do over here in my terminal is I'm just going to run bundle. Let me pull this down so we can actually see it. Exec Fastlane match. And what this command will do is it will look at the project. It will look at GitLab and it will look at the Apple developer portal and see that we don't have any certificates generated. And it'll go and generate the whole thing for us and upload it. So this will take just a little bit to run. And it has a bunch of output along the way, but it's basically saying what it's going to do here and kind of how it's configured. And there we go. And it does have, like, I have logged into the developer portal through Fastlane, so it has my like login saved. If I hadn't been logged in, it would prompt me for my like account and password. All right. Cool. So I think that is done. So it says all keys, certificates, and provisioning profiles are installed. So now if I go over here, I'll see that it's generated a development certificate and a provisioning profile for the development. And then if I go over here, this is going to show these 5 files. And what these files are is these 2 are kind of just meta files that go along with Fastlane. So this is just telling me what version of match is running, and then match uses that internally. And then they include a README too. But the main things that are important here is this is the mobile provisioning profile. And then it generated a private key and then a signing cert here. So these are the files that I would use in my build process. And I can use that locally or in CI. And so this is for development. And so if I were to do, let's see, if I were to change my type here to App Store, and then run this again, now it's going to go and do the distribution certificates. And so that would be for actually pushing to the App Store. All right, and that completed successfully. And then if we go back in here, we'll see another provisioning profile for the App Store, as well as the distribution certificate here. And then we've got these files that will also show up in here. There we go. So we've got the distribution certificate, the private key, and the provisioning profile. Yeah, Sri, do you have a question?
Yeah, thanks. So I missed a lot of these videos, so I might be missing context, or you might have answered this before in one of the previous videos.
Yeah.
How are these secure files linked to different environments in terms of Git branches or the environments that we have within the project?
Let's see. So you're saying, like, how are these related to either like development branches or actual like release environments as part of GitLab? So there isn't any type of association yet for that like those type of relationships. Really, like what the way the secure files acts right now is just kind of like a small repository, and they can be used through kind of whatever CI configuration you want to run to pull into the different environments. So, like, I guess the example would be if you wanted to use these with Fastlane, for example, you would tell Fastlane which type of certificates to use for the build that you're trying to run. So if I were, I don't have a good example of this, but if I were building like a CI script to use these secure files, one of my steps would be something like Fastlane match. Sorry, bundle exec, Fastlane match development. And what this should do, like if this were in a CI job, this would go and reach out to GitLab and pull down the secure files for the development environment for that job. Does that make sense?
Got it. So somewhere in GitLab, there is a mapping for the environment name, in this case, development, with a particular set of files, similar to what we do with project CI bars.
So there isn't that relationship today. So okay. that would be configured through the CI scripts. So Fastlane knows about this because Fastlane understands the naming convention that it uses. But if you weren't using Fastlane, what you would probably do is, and this is still kind of a work in progress, you'd probably pull down like all your secure files into a folder in your CI job, and then select, like configure your CI job to use the ones for the different environment that you would have.
Got it.
But yeah, like I could see future iterations of that having some sort of association there.
Yeah, just to follow up. So when I'm in my runner context, I'm running a pipeline for a project that has got a certain set of secure files. How are these files provided to the runner? Like, how does the runner know they exist?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there is a kind of temporary solution for this. We'll call it a first iteration. But what the way that this is set up today is there's this little Ruby script that you can set up in your CI job using this one-liner here. And what this does is it basically goes out to GitLab, grabs all the secure files, and then pulls them into your runner instance.
Got it.
Yeah, and so there's no special hooks into runner today. That's one of the follow-up tasks we have actually.
Yeah.
And where is that at? Runner integration. So probably a more proper runner integration would be helpful. But this is kind of the quick workaround to make it functional today.
Yeah, no, probably this ties in with the previous point about making secure files environment specific, so that when you run this, it doesn't pull down all the files, because some secure files are more secure or should be more secure than the others. So yeah, but this is cool, man. This is excellent, and the use case is so broad because it's not just mobile specific. You could use it for a lot of different things. So nice.
Yeah, and that was sort of the idea. Sort of the generalized approach solves the problem for mobile, but then could be used for many other contexts. And really, the idea behind the sort of MVC release of this is like, let's get it out there and get some feedback from people, and get like feedback just like that, like you're describing, like how do we associate these two environments, or like how do we protect these in different ways. I think there's probably like some sort of hierarchy to that.
But no, I'd love to see the UI that you, is there, so how do I upload a secure file, or how does that happen? Is that just an API right now, or?
Yeah, so the first iteration of this was really just an API interface. And so there is, in this issue here, there is a section on the docs. So I added this, the API docs here. So there is a full, sort of write up on how to interact with secure files today.
Yeah.
And that's mostly done through the API. This view right here is just a single like read-only view that I created just to have something to start with. This isn't really
Okay.
intended for like a broad release. I think before we would release this UI, I would want to have the ability to at least upload files directly here, and then like maybe delete.
Maybe not. Like who wants to upload files through a browser? I don't know, but this is cool. So
Yeah.
does this, so in terms of navigation, is this secure files under CI/CD?
It's not hooked into the navigation right now either.
Okay.
So it's like, sort of feature flagged off in that way,
Yeah.
because it's just sort of hidden. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I think this would like in the sketches that I had, it was maybe I think under CI/CD, like adding a new tab in here for secure files. So.
Yeah, because that's where for variables right now, you have to go into settings and you have to, that's not ideal in my opinion, but okay.
Yeah, I think putting it in here would really kind of scope the context a little bit. So like, oh, these are for CI/CD. They're not secure files for package registries or security scanners or other things like that.
Correct.
Like maybe they could be used that way, but like this is what they're intended for. So
yeah. Right. So if I upload readme.md again, that's going to overwrite the existing file and the previous version is lost forever.
So what I'm intending to do with this is to actually, like right now we don't have a validation for this, but I'm going to add it. So files have to have a unique name. And if you try to upload a file with the same name, it will give you an error. So if you try to upload readme.md again, it would reject it. So we already have a file in this project with that name.
Okay.
Either delete that file or change the name. So you have to do an explicit action to overwrite something instead of accidentally doing it.
Yeah, makes sense. So I could always just delete it and
yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
My next steps here are to continue on the MVC rollout and get to staging in GitLab.com. The Fastlane integration is a work in progress, but I'm hoping to have a pull request into the Fastlane project coming up this week and start working through the process of getting that change merged in. And then the upload checksums, I'm also working on that, and I've got an MR in progress for that. So that is what we've got for this week.